Hey parents, ready to turn story time into a magical adventure? With the Story Dream Machine, colorful lights and sound effects bring every tale to life right before your eyes. Choose from a wide variety of story collections to keep the excitement going, sold separately. And with the Storytime travel case, you can take the fun anywhere. Vacation, grandma's house, even the backyard. Plus, the Story Dreamers plush adds interactive moments your kids will love. Storytime isn't just reading, it's dreaming. Bring Storytime to life with the Story Dream Machine.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Banking with Capital One helps you keep more money in your wallet with no fees or minimums on checking accounts and no overdraft fees. Just ask the Capital One bank guy. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. He'd also tell you that this podcast is his favorite podcast, too. Ah, really? Thanks, Capital One bank guy. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
This holiday, give the gift that says, let's cancel plans and just lounge. MeUndies has dropped their new holiday collection, and it's made for maximum cozy. We're talking soft as snow ultramodal fabric, festive prints, and loungewear so comfy your couch might get jealous. Onesies, hoodies, joggers, even delightfully quirky holiday designs. You're welcome. Knock out all your holiday gifting needs with deals up to 60% off at MeUndies.com/ACAST. Enter promo code ACAST. That's MeUndies.com/ACAST. Code ACAST.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, November 10th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, give you some important context, and help each other understand.
Today, can TikTok match eBay with shopping in the U.S.?
I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Robb Dunewood.
Let's start with what you need to know with that big story. There's an analytics firm out there called EchoTick that polled price and sales volumes of individual products on the TikTok shop. So that's stuff you can see. Anybody can see that stuff. But it did it on a massive scale so that it could estimate that TikTok shop sold about $19 billion worth of products worldwide from July through September. Now, Music Ally points out that EchoTick's business is to provide analytics and other tools to creators. So, if they can show the TikTok shop is booming, that's probably better for its business as well. But these numbers are checkable. They seem to be rather reliable. And that would make U.S. the largest market for TikTok shop. Now, if you're like, hey, U.S. bigger than China? No, TikTok doesn't operate in China. Douyin operates in China. It's pretty much the same thing as TikTok, but it's a separate app. So that is not included in here. So we leave China out. U.S. becomes the largest market for TikTok shop. And U.S. made $4 to $4.5 billion of that $19 billion. That's a rise of 125% from the previous quarter. The next markets after it are Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. Those are smaller markets, though. So you lump all 4 of those together, they're actually bigger than the U.S., and that's important to keep in mind as we look at these numbers. By comparison, TikTok Shop's $19 billion is right on the heels of eBay, which did $20.1 billion worldwide sales in the same quarter. Now, one of the biggest drivers of shopping on TikTok, especially in those Southeast Asian markets, and certainly in mainland China on Douyin, is live streaming. Live streaming shopping in China is a whole other world. You have the equivalent of mainland Chinese celebrities to Taylor Swift and Beyonce showing up on live stream shopping in China. They have comedians, they have variety shows. It is a much bigger deal than what you think of in the US, which is QVC. So it has made slow progress in the U.S. because Beyonce is not going to go on a TikTok live stream, not for the amount of money they're going to pay her. However, it is one of ByteDance's main revenue generators in mainland China. Live stream e-commerce accounts for around 50% of Douyan's traffic. Total shopping is only 20% of U.S. traffic. And that's not live. That's just total shopping on U.S. TikTok. Live is a smaller percentage of that. About 1 out of 10 of the 20% who do shopping do it from live. Nevertheless, TikTok told Wired that TikTok Shop live shopping sessions were rising, up 72% year over year in September, and that sales are up 120% year over year in June. When you're coming from a smaller number, you get those bigger percentage rises, but still, it's significant when you got $19 billion in sales. It looks like in the US, TikTok is taking a more social media versus live tactic. And Rob, they're kind of gaining some results.
They're gaining significant results. I knew that TikTok Shop was big here in the US. I didn't know that it rivaled eBay. That's maybe because I'm born in the 70s. When I think of like an online shop where you go and buy stuff that regular people are selling, eBay is the first place that I think of. But I would venture that if you're born probably in the 90s or later, that TikTok Shop or even Facebook Marketplace, you probably think of those places first. But for this to be rivaling eBay, and I had no clue, I knew it was big. I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah, and I think in the broadest sense, those are comparable. But you go to eBay for different reasons. You go to eBay often to find used things or discounted items, whereas you're going to TikTok, you are possibly not shopping for a particular thing. You're just shopping, quote unquote, right? You're seeing what people are talking about. Or you've got a broad idea of like, I need a clothing steamer, but what's the best one? Let me look on TikTok and see what people are saying. I see one in action. I can tell it works because it's on the video, and then I buy it. There was in the Wired article on this, an anecdote of somebody who bought one on Amazon, then saw one on TikTok that looked better, bought it from TikTok Shop and returned the one on Amazon because it did work better. I do feel like those live streams, it's going to be a long time before TikTok Shop live streams can catch on in the US in a manner that can bring in the celebrity power and entertainment value that they have in mainland China. But these more small scale influencer led videos do seem to be catching on.
Yeah. So I don't think it's for a lack of trying. I think that TikTok would love to do what it's doing in China here. But what I do see picking up is just influencers, not necessarily the biggest stars, not the Beyoncés, not the Taylor Swifts of the world, but the big streamer, the person that has the makeup channel that does hauls, and they say, oh, I want to go do a haul over here on TikTok, or even tech reviewers. They will do the short, tech reviews on TikTok. You're starting to see more and more of that. So will it catch what is happening with Douyin in China anytime in the near future? No, I don't think so, because we just roll a little different, and they are focusing on social media here. But it is something that, to look at. And there's other examples. When I think of Amazon, like the Amazon influencer program right now is actually really on the rise. A lot of people are getting over there and making actual content to go onto that site to sell stuff. And I think you're going to see the same thing start to happen here once the creators are aware, oh, I can make a couple extra $100 a month if I just talk about this in TikTok as compared to on Instagram or, on my, YouTube channel or what have you.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of the, if you see a live stream being successful, it is something like Labubu's or something from China, where there's maybe not as much competition for that, or it's more endemic to it. But if you're looking at what's succeeding in the US, it's a different market, it's a different aesthetic, and that influencer-led content, you're right, not just successful on TikTok, it's also successful on Amazon. It's even getting successful on YouTube and Instagram. Instagram has a whole shopping program, so it does feel like that's the way it's going to rise here. And of course, that brings us to the ever-present question over TikTok, which I know the can's been kicked down the road to January now, but we still haven't heard the definitive, like, okay, here's what's going to happen to TikTok in the United States. Meanwhile, its revenue and its importance to the economy keeps growing.
I do wonder as well, because if I'm ByteDance at this point, it's like, let's just keep doing what we're doing and keep kicking this can down the road, proverbially, as you just said, because why change if you don't have to? I think something eventually is going to happen, but eventually could be a very, very long time from now. And even if something does happen in January, it's not like that's going to be US TikTok in January. We still could be 6 months, a year out before we actually see something running here. And I know a big concern for a lot of creators on TikTok is that, well, what happens to TikTok Shop? That doesn't come to the US. That's still a ByteDance type of thing. So how do those waters get navigated? I don't know that that's been figured out yet.
Yeah, the things that I've read, and like you say, nothing has been definitive. So this could change, or the reporting could be, off base. But what I've read is that sales of advertising and TikTok Shop will continue to be run by ByteDance. It's the algorithm, it's the recommendations, it's the hosting of the personal data that would be moved to a U.S. company. But it sounds like what they would like to do is just move all that back end stuff and then leave everything else the same, so that TikTok Shop keeps rolling along, makes a bunch of revenue, and that new U.S. company gets a cut of that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. That's what we're being told, but we have to actually see this stuff put into implementation and actually work. And the thing that I would imagine that anyone involved in US TikTok is thinking right now, whatever we do, we cannot interrupt what people already do, because we know that people are fickle. If it doesn't feel like TikTok, they'll go do something different. And that really worries still a lot of people who are selling on TikTok Shop. They're worried about, are we going to lose Americans because they decide to go do something different?
Yeah. And we still haven't heard a peep out of China on what's going to happen here. So, clock's ticking and talking.
DTNS is made possible by you, the listener, thanks to Jeffrey Zilks, Alo, Adam L., Philip Less, and our new patrons, Paul and Sandeep.
Hey, welcome, Paul and Sandeep. Good to have you.
As a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early. Your business is on your mind 24/7. So when you're hiring, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That hiring partner is LinkedIn Jobs. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates that you can manage, all in one place. With LinkedIn's new tools, you can write great job descriptions and quickly get your post in front of the right people using deep candidate insights. You can either post your job for free or pay to promote it. Promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified applicants. At the end of the day, what matters most is the quality of your candidates. 72% of small businesses using LinkedIn say it helps them find high-quality hires. And you can boost your reach by adding a hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to get twice as many qualified candidates. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/DTNS. That's linkedin.com/DTNS. Terms and conditions apply.
Every holiday shopper's got a list, but Ross shoppers, you've got a mission. Like a gift run that turns into a disco snow globe, throw pillows, and PJs for the whole family, dog included. At Ross, holiday magic isn't about spending more, it's about giving more for less. Ross, work your magic.
Ready to order.
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
You've worked hard to build your business. SimpliSafe helps you protect it. With SimpliSafe for Business, AI-powered cameras watch over your entry points and instantly alert live monitoring agents. They can deter intruders before they get inside. It's protection built for growing companies. 24/7 monitoring, no contracts, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get 60% off your new system, go to simplisafe.com/podcast. That's simplisafe.com/podcast for 60% off. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out Zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
There's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
Amazon Prime Video has a series called House of David, which shows the story of the rise of the King David, in 1000 BC and opened season 2 with the slaying of Goliath. A studio called Wonder Project is producing the series. It has used generative models for 350 to 400 visual effects shots this season, and that's about 4 times what it used last season. Wonder Project says it's used the tech for crowd replication and scenery, including some fortresses, hillside fires, and misty mountains. Wonder says it used models from Runway, Google, Adobe, and Luma. Luma makes ray tracing generation software Ray 3 with Adobe. The tools worked in a pipeline that would stack images and res up them with up to 15 programs working at once in some cases.
Yeah, it seems like this is an example of a smaller studio with a dedicated audience being able to work within the rules. Nobody's accusing anybody of breaking any of the SAG-AFTRA rules that were negotiated about likenesses and training, but maybe working outside the opinion, because inside of Hollywood, the opinion is we don't like AI. We want the studios to use it as little as possible. But here you have a company that's like, hey, you know what? It made our video better. It made our offering better, and we didn't have to break the bank to do it.
Yeah, this is where I think the studios are in between a rock and a hard place. They do not want to lose the industry, the people who are working in the industry. But I don't even want to say that it's a uniquely American thing. This is a thing kind of globally. But if you can go somewhere else because the laws are different there or the rules are different there with unions and such, that it's way less expensive to create content someplace else than it is to create content here, that is ultimately going to have to be wrestled with, because I don't see this going away. I don't see a time when we're going, when companies are going to say, let's be less productive than we can be. Let's spend more money than we need to. Some might, but most won't. So this is something that's going to ultimately have to get figured out and have to be addressed.
Wonder Projects here in the United States, working within the rules, saving money. I can tell you for sure there are a bunch of studios in Los Angeles that are catering to small-time creators saying, hey, we can give you some AI magic in your videos, especially if you're doing fictional dramatizations and stuff like that. So this is happening, whether the big studios and the critics that they employ want it to or not. And you got some big names out there. Vince Gilligan just did an interview related to his show Pluribus, expressing his skepticism about whether these kinds of models can really improve things. Guillermo del Toro, who's doing Frankenstein for Netflix, has been very stridently anti AI, saying that he thinks it's an abomination and things like that. So there's a lot of big names and big studios that are resisting this. But you got a lot of little folks willing to take a gamble on it because it improves things. And Amazon getting a lot of views out of House of David, I'll tell you that.
I've seen not the entire first season, but I've seen a few episodes, and it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't have told me that they used AI, I wouldn't have known it. It was just, it was something that I never thought about. And I think that is the rub. Are we going to get to the point to where a lot of people just don't think about it? Because there are definitely some who simply will, I'm not watching that because AI was used to create it. And that's their stand. But there's a lot of other folks who they didn't know AI was being used to make it in the first place and just saw something that they enjoyed and intended to watch it. And although I am aware of it and I don't particularly care for it, I understand that it's content, and it's good content, and it's going to be made regardless of what we want the rules to be.
Yeah, and it's going to keep getting better, right? It's going to keep getting harder to tell when it was used. Speaking of the halo effect of all this stuff, TSMC reported a 16.9% rise in sales last quarter. Now, that's double-digit growth. You might say, like, that sounds great, but it is the slowest growth for TSMC, which has been going gangbusters, since February 2024. Now, it still met analyst expectations, so you might see headlines on this that seem to contradict each other. One outlet's going to go with like TSMC disappoints, is AI slowing? Others are going to say TSMC meets analyst expectations and projects strong growth continuing. Those are all true. It's just you can only fit one in the headline, so you're trying to decide which tactic you're going to take to bring in the readers. The analysts expected a seasonal slowing, and that's what's attributed to this. If there is a softening in demand demand for chips, you're going to see it in next quarter's sales. So if you are concerned about this, look at TSMC's next quarterly report. And if they don't meet or beat expectations that time, then this was a harbinger of something bad. But TSMC says capacity remains tight. They are still trying to do everything they can to meet demand.
Tom, I remember a time long time ago, like 2-3 years ago, when you actually meeting your analyst expectations was seen as a good thing. You definitely didn't want to not meet the expectations. Sure. But you didn't also want to be 20-30% ahead of what the expectations were. And you didn't want to do that repeatedly. If it was an outlier, that was one thing. But if it was like a regular thing, that was viewed as bad because you didn't give your investors the opportunity to invest the way they would have if they would have known that or at least had a good idea that the price was going to go up. So it's interesting to me that TSMC on paper 3 years ago had a ridiculous quarter. They met the expectations. They did what they said they were going to do. The things that they said were going to happen actually happened. They called it, and half the market is upset about it. It's an interesting time that we're in.
Yeah, because everybody's worried about a bubble, and if you're convinced there is anything happening, you're going to look for evidence of it. And the people who are convinced there's a bubble look at a slowing growth and say, there it is. There's the evidence. Whereas TSMC's going like, no, you and all the analysts knew that we were going to have a seasonally slower quarter, that, it was going to be as slow as it was in 2024. That's only last year, so don't fret too much about it. And like I said, I'm not saying there isn't a bubble or there isn't slowing coming, but this is not evidence of it.
This is not evidence of it because TSMC, they told you what was going to happen, and what happened actually is what they told you. I don't know what else the company could actually do except for, here's what we think is going to happen. Let's have 20% better than that actually happened. That's not sustainable. That indicates a bubble to me, to when you keep missing and it seems like you're sandbagging after a quarter or two of that happening.
Yeah. And like you say, it's a great point that I hadn't even thought of today, which is if you continually beat expectations by too much, it means you're not giving your investors proper information.
Right. Monday is always the day we talk about whatever Apple leaks the Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has published in his Sunday Power One newsletter. He notes that Apple is working on additional features that are powered by satellite connectivity, bypassing carriers. That includes 5G NTN, which supplements 5G service with satellite connectivity options for app makers, satellite-powered Apple Maps, rich messaging like photos, and easier usage so you don't have to point your phone to the sky. But grabbing more attention is a post from Weibo's digital chat station, which claims Apple's underscreen camera is on track to arrive in 2027.
Now, Gurman's out there probably going like, I wrote about that too. I just didn't write about it this week. I like to kind of look at Gurman's rumors now, or his leaks, I would say. They're not really rumors. They're things that he's finding out from inside, and evaluate whether they're worth the hype, because it seems like he's very smart to publish these on Sunday, knowing that Monday news is always a little slower and it'll get pickup. But, different weeks have different levels of revelation to them. I think the idea that Apple is making progress on connecting directly to satellites, which bypasses carrier, is an interesting thing to watch. These features could be interesting as well. They are not an indication that is making fast progress, but it means Apple's still working on them. So that's how I take that. Whereas Weibo going like, that underscreen camera, it's on track to arrive in 2027. That tells me digital chat station, very good at reading the tea leaves of what will be picked up by SEO, because that one rocketed to the top of all the sources I look at.
Absolutely. A story about, here's a new iPhone and there's no camera button. There's no camera hole. It's just all screen until you take the picture, and then it's just magic and cool. That is going to play more because we want to start thinking about the satellite connectivity in a couple of years as just connectivity. When's the last time we had big stories about, we've got 5G on these phones? It's like, yeah, that's just how phones connect to each other. It's not really a big thing, but something new, something that I can see with my eyeballs that, I don't see a camera notch. That is big news. And that's exactly why it grabbed the attention today.
It's something you can imagine. It's something you want to see. It's something Android phones already have to a certain extent. But LG is working on some better technology to make it work even better. And apparently that's what Apple is possibly taking advantage of here. So yeah, it excites the imagination. Denmark and Norway public transit providers are investigating reports that there are kill switches in the chips used on buses made by China's Yutong. Yutong is the world's largest manufacturer of buses. I take a little exception to calling these kill switches. Jeppe Gard, chief operating officer of the Danish public transport provider Movia, told NBC that over-the-air firmware update capability, in other words, these buses have software and systems that you can push an update to over the air. You don't have to go plug them into anything to update the firmware, means that the buses can be, and I quote, stopped remotely either by the manufacturer or by a hacker. He said this is not just a concern for Chinese-made buses, but for all buses that are made with updatable software. Norway's bus operator Ruter performed tests on 2 Yutong models and 1 Dutch model. They were able to stop the Yutong models, though they could not remotely operate them. They couldn't stop the Dutch model because it didn't have over-the-air updates. Yutong notes that the vehicle data for EU operators is stored on AWS in Frankfurt, Germany. It's encrypted, that you cannot access it without customer authorization. So when they push an over-the-air update, somebody at the operator of the bus has to approve it to go to the buses. However, the UK has picked up this story and is now investigating its Yutong-made buses as well. Thanks to RW Nash for submitting this one on the subreddit. But Rob, this feels a little like people who run buses discovered what over-the-air updates are capable of.
So this is where the headline was written to get people to say, "Oh, look at that." We could create a headline that says, Apple pushes out an update that could turn off your iPhone.
Yeah.
They absolutely can. They do it several times a quarter when they update what, I think we're at iOS, or not just iOS, but we're at Apple OS. All of them are 26.1 right now. 26.2, they could literally put something in there by intention or by omission. They did something get tested, something got past someone. They could literally turn your phone off. But we don't think of it like that when it comes to phones. But when it comes to buses, when it comes to these things that are mass transportation, I think we're thinking to movies like Speed and things where there are car chases, to where the hacker was able to hit the kill switch on the on the car carrying all the money, on the armored car, and that's how they were able to get up to it and rob it and have this giant heist. That's what we think about, but it really is just, if you allow something to over the air be updated, there is a potential that the update could cause the thing to stop working as intended. That's always going to be there for the history of things being updated over the air.
And could theoretically either Yutong itself or or a malicious actor push an update at a bus in order to try to get it to malfunction and stop? Yes, that can also happen to your cars. That can happen to anything, potentially. The question isn't, can it happen? The question is, how likely is it to happen? And what Yutong is saying is, it's not bloody likely. But you should you should investigate and make sure that you can keep it from happening. And most of the security professionals that have been interviewed for these stories have said the same thing, which is like, yeah, sure, it's possible. But if you're, and that's why it's important to secure these systems to make it unlikely that it would happen. But there's no kill switch. There's this idea that there's someone in China that could press a button and all the buses in Norway stop. That's not how this works. This is just a capability that every over-the-air system is subject to. And I think folks are getting a little out of hand on that. Maybe because they're overthinking, maybe because they have a propaganda goal. But it is interesting to see this come out of Scandinavia, where you usually don't see the more sensational things come from.
I think something that would be as sensational, maybe even less sensational, would be Don Cheadle speaking in a British accent, driving a white van with a big piece of tech that has liquid in it for some reason, next to the bus, and firing something off, and the van kind of implodes, but the bus also stops. I think that is as likely to happen as someone actually having a kill switch that says, "Ooh, we got a button, we can make this bus stop."
Yeah.
So if you allow something to be updated over the air, there's just going to be the potential that bad firmware, something could happen. Is generally not going to be a malicious actor well, it could be a hacker trying to do something maliciously, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be the company that created it trying to wreck their business model. There's no good to the company putting a kill switch in their devices, because they would never sell those devices any longer if that came to light.
Yeah, no, that's the ultimate point for the business side of this, and then on the malicious actor side, that's why you need to make sure that you are using secure systems and your encryption is strong and your phishing protections are strong and all of that. But that's true of every single system we operate these days. All right, finally, some quick headlines that are just good to know if you want to understand the news in the future. Pay attention to these.
Politico obtained draft documents that indicate the European Commission will unveil a digital omnibus package of bills on November 19th, which would, among other things, grant exemptions to companies to use personal data to train models.
Set your clock for November 19th for when everyone gets even more outraged about this in Europe. U.S. video sharing and cloud service provider Rumble has agreed to acquire German data infrastructure company Northern Data. And notably, cryptocurrency company Tether is an investor in both of those companies, as well as a customer.
Coinbase is launching a platform to let individuals buy digital tokens before they are listed as an ICO on Coinbase's exchange platform.
Ooh, the return of ICO buzz.
Yeah.
On the Made by Google podcast, Gemini product manager David Sharon revealed why they called Gemini 2.5 Flash image Nano Banana. Apparently, it's because it was late at night and they needed to come up with a name to submit it anonymously to LM Arena because they didn't want to admit it was Gemini at the time. So a product manager named Nina came up with it. Who knows why? But there you go.
So here's the thing. That happens so often in product management. They don't know what to call it, so they'll just make a name up right there on the fly.
Something came into Nina's head.
And that's what it is. OnePlus is rolling out Android 16 to its foldable open phones with Oxygen OS 16 on top.
As promised, China's Commerce Ministry announced Sunday that as of November 27th, it is suspending its ban on exporting gallium, germanium, antimony, and graphite to the United States. That ban is over.
I always thought that was called antimony.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is. Let me know if I'm saying it wrong.
Just in my head. And as the carriage dispute between Disney and YouTube TV continues, YouTube TV has increased the rebate to customers that they can apply for from $10 to $20. Check your email for instructions. Credits will be issued on November 12th.
Oh, that one stretches on. Monday Night Football's coming. Well, folks, if you're looking for the perfect gift for the DTNS fan in your life, or maybe for yourself, you deserve a gift. Just give yourself a gift. You can look at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. We have a new DTNS pint glass in there, currently being road tested by R.W. Nash. There's Tom's new ebook, my new ebook, Synced. Know a little more about tech as a PDF. And holiday cards, postcards, and more with special DTNS holiday art by Len Peralta. It's a Santa Claus with some drones pulling the sleigh, and he's got an Apple Vision Pro on his face. You want to take a look at that. If no other reason, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
Every holiday shopper's got a list, but Ross shoppers, you've got a mission. Like a gift run that turns into a disco snow globe, throw pillows, and PJs for the whole family, dog included. At Ross, holiday magic isn't about spending more, it's about giving more for less. Ross, work your magic.
A lot of supplement brands chase trends, but if you're serious about your health, we know research-backed science is what actually moves the needle. Momentous works with the best brains in human science to create every formula, and every batch is made of pure ingredients, tested for safety, and does not contain fillers. So you get the best long-term results possible. Creatine isn't just for muscle gains, it's essential daily fuel for your brain, body, and long-term performance. Momentous CreaPure Creatine is backed by leading performance experts like Dr. Andrew Huberman and Dr. Stacy Sims. Sourced exclusively in Germany, CreaPure sets the gold standard for creatine, delivering the purest form, creatine monohydrate, that's rigorously washed and never cut with fillers. With over 2,000 five-star reviews, over 112,000 customers have seen the results firsthand. With Momentous, the fundamentals are done right. Right now, Momentous is offering our listeners up to 35% off your first subscription order with promo code ACAST. Go to livemomentous.com and use promo code ACAST for up to 35% off your first subscription order. That's livemomentous.com, promo code ACAST.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Last week, Mel asked how data centers in space would handle cooling. Today, T.O. has an answer.
Yeah, so T.O. writes, regarding how the space data centers or space station radiate heat out into space, not all heat transfer happens through physical contact. Heat can also radiate as light. Imagine the heat from a campfire. Even with most of the gas rising up and taking a lot of the heat with it, some of the energy is also radiated in the infrared spectrum. Now keep imagining the campfire, crackling, calm breeze, in contrast to the radiating warmth of the fire. Take a breath and enjoy the calm. Thanks for an amazing show. Thank you, T.O., for that poetic explanation of how you can cool things in space. I definitely appreciate that.
I'm just waiting for the movie where we have Gerard Butler starring in it, where we're building space stations full of these data centers and he's got to save Earth somehow. That's what I imagine when I think of data centers in space.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are you thinking about? Got some insights into a story? Shared with us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Big thanks to T.O. for contributing to today's show. Thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. You can keep us in business. Become a patron. Don't forget. Do it now. Patreon.com/DTNS. And thank you.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.